gonna talk about it?
Next off, roll-off containers.
Well, I guess
Oh, sorry, garbage truck program.
similar situation to the Mack truck. I'll bring y'all up to date on the history. Back in February of 2011, we purchased our first pair of used all-over trucks. We purchased our next pair in November 2011. Purchased our last pair in February 2013. What we'd like to do is, looking back at the ones we originally purchased in February 2011, these trucks have got about 80-something thousand miles on them now, about 5,000 hours. Not a lot of miles, but it is a lot of hours. Put more hours than what normal people does based on the amount of miles. We purchased these trucks at a cost of $225,652. We made our last payment on these trucks. I bought one of these trucks when I bought this first round in finance. Made our last payment on it in February this year. We would like to look at selling these two trucks, just like talking about on the backs, and purchasing two units. Wood Auction Company also, you got an email, I got garbage trucks, those top of it. Wood Auction Company says they believe they'll range in the $115,000 to $130,000 range, and they would guarantee us $115,000 if we chose to do that. Let's see here.
I want to make sure I understand what you said. You said we give $225,000 for these trucks,
With 225,
and now we're guaranteed $230,000.
we guarantee $115,000.
I mean,
Give
two.
$225 apiece.
Oh, okay, that's where I misunderstood.
We gave what of these?
$225 apiece. We've had them about 3.5 years. So you see that the value is going to start going back.
Why are we not doing these every year like our dump trucks if we're making money?
They don't sell like dump trucks. The market's not there for them. I would have, we talked about doing this like before we done it.
Was the replacement cost the same? Replacement cost?
No, sir. That's a good question. The last two we brought was 242. But at the same time, when we go sell those, get back to them. But the reason I brought this up, Darrell and I was discussing this, and these two trucks are, we've got the extended warranty on them, which is going to cover the big cost. But we're starting to do a lot of other stuff that's going on with them. You look at our maintenance report for this past year and see they've been up there several times to get this stuff done. We can't do this computer stuff and stuff that Mac has to do. It's just something I wanted you to think about. See how we proceed. Of course, the sale is in the middle part of September.
Will they reimburse our warranty that we just bought on those, what's remaining? If we sell those, we get our money back? We will not.
No, it's not a night warranty. You call, we have to go out.
Does the buyer get
It goes with
warranty?
the truck, it goes with the truck, which would help to sell the truck.
Does, I'd like to see what we spent.
We've spent close to 20,000, but about 12 of that would be one. So we've been out about 8,000 on each truck. And that's just this year. We ain't so full grid yet. But that don't count a lot of, they're getting, that don't count the record bills where we have to go get them time and two or the downtime and employees.
Is it something that we could do at the end of this month? Still, the time that gives us a month of August, or whatever.
I know we could do as far as getting the sale, that would be a problem. I need to call the guy and see how much notice he would need to get the vehicles in here, because we can't be down, we can't be without a truck, without two trucks. What I'd like to check on that, have all that for you.
What's the physical appearance of these trucks? Do they look rough?
The trucks we got, we wash them everything once a week, maintain them, they look good. They're really good looking trucks. I'd like for you to come down and look at them Friday, not once. They look terrible for me. There's been mud and trash and all that, but Friday after lunch, they look good. Every Friday, every month.
Any other questions?
So your recommendation is if we're waiting, we might end up losing money. If we're waiting, it sounds to me like if we wait another year, we're gonna really drop.
Well, I don't know, Commissioner, if it would drop that much more or not, it's just, I think it's more the maintenance line there.
Well, I was gonna talk about the time you had maintenance and the drop, and tell you that the amount of money is gonna be,
See, like this time last year, when I talked to him, I think we all, when we discussed it a little bit, we was looking at about 150 to 160 last year. So, kind of,
so that's drops about $40,000 plus the maintenance, $50,000.
but I'd like to please y'all, okay, y'all put it on the agenda for Monday, and I'll try to have all the information, and we can vote for your name.
When are you looking at replacing the other two 2011s? Is it just,
They're actually a very good year, as far as down the line, they're good year, so
okay,
maybe, what we'd like to do is get them repaired and replaced, a year from now. And then the last two, next year.
will the garbage trucks, the funds have to come out of solid waste, or some of this can come out of capital improvement?
I think all of this would have to come from solid waste. We could,
Can we supplement out of capital improvements if
can
we so
trucks
choose?
repurchase them?
It's an asset.
Don't think so. We can sort of look at that and see.
It is an enterprise fund, so solid waste is, so we have to stay in that fund.
We'll check and see what.
Okay.
Maybe, like I said, maybe the two that would sell would be enough to buy for one.
If there's no objection, I'd like to proceed with that. We'll place this on the agenda pending the information we receive on the dollar amounts. And as soon as you get that, if you can send it to us, and I'd like to sit down with Bob and kind of take a look at that budget and see what the
I'll
possibilities
print it off,
are.
I'll print it off for you, kind of stay not really before we have the balance on solid waste. I know I've got that.
The balance is one thing, we've got to stay with the budget. Okay, any other questions or comments? Next item is roll-off containers.
Y'all asked us to kind of keep track of people calling in, or exactly fill off the names, not people a lot of calls. I think y'all have a copy of that there, the NJD, that's top. NJPA. 261,000 for the trucks, 20 roll-offs. We're talking, and I'll just tell you the conversation I had with Darrell today. To us, garbage trucks is more important than the roll-offs. We'd like to put the priority over there. The roll-offs, like I said, we're not getting many calls as there was, but probably a lot of, work got we don't have. But I just wanted to bring it back to you. I told you I'd report back to you on it. This is not something that we have, so the time frame on the garbage truck.
Any questions or comments?
The roll-offs would be handy, during the storm with the knuckle bone,
Let me ask you a question, are we overstaffed at all? Solid waste?
Probably, maybe one, two work.
I wonder if we should, if we got the people, it's a good opportunity, if we're making money for solid waste, keeping it, do we think there'd be enough of that one or two people to stay easy?
On a perfect day, we have the opportunity, we usually swing it up or something like that. If we have a truck driver lay out, we got to pull them in. We can't shut it out. We gotta keep at least one. Right now, we've probably got two.
That's what makes
More,
And we not start with just,
that's in addition, to
One
what you
guy.
guys intended for the workers.
And if the committee would take a look at that and bring a recommendation to the commission of where we want to go with that, it would be a revenue source if we did start providing the service to the county. I believe the town of Stevenson started providing that too, and spoken with him. He's got no qualms with us moving into it. We discussed that, so I'd like to look at that, and we'll try to get something maybe by the end of this month and make a decision which way we want to go. Do you want to post and proceed like that? Okay. All right. Move on to Jackson County Park map.
Approached by this southeastern publication, they do campground and park maps. Some examples of what they do. I don't know if you all got a copy of this tonight, in the packet. There's got to be an agreement with them. If they come in and they map the campground and park it out. As far as I know, the contract states it's supposed to be free. This is something that for a small area like ours, it's probably one of those small amounts. And people pay for it, those people with the advertising. Right? We would get about 3,000 maps. And I think this is a yearly contract. The only thing they charge for, like I say, the supporters have to look it over, is that you have to give them 2 weeks of stay at the park, which is around $350.
That's right.
give it to him.
Give
Photographer or something.
the people that would come in and map,
Oh,
and do the map, they would have to have 2 weeks of stay at the park.
That would be the only cost.
As far as I know, Mr. Dillon, but we need to get Mr. Reporter to look over this contract.
And 2 weeks a year, right? 2 weeks.
How many folks you talking about?
One spot. 2 people, it'll be 2 people, but just 1 spot.
Questions or comments on this?
I like it. I think it'd be good for the community.
That costs us something, you know, one spot.
I like that street.
They got a line, I was looking through that. And one reason why they come every year is because, you know, we make this look great. I guess, did you get a copy, Mr. Ford?
Any other questions? Will you have time to review this by next Monday? If there's no objection, we'll place this on the agenda next Monday. See if there are any other concerns or questions on it. Next items regarding the road block policy. You have in your packets a copy of something that has been put together. It's not what's in force right now. We kind of go by these guidelines, but the commission has not adopted it. I believe Mr. Jeffrey wanted to bring this up for discussion. Concern from this weekend.
Yeah, we had an incident on San Mountain where a church come from Center, Alabama, and found out it wasn't even a church after we got an investigation. Taking up money. I think we need to tighten up how we do these. They also, even by our own policy, there were kids between the ages of 3 and 5 years old taking up money on the yellow line. I don't know what the perfect answer is, but we're gonna have to do something.
The sheriff's department did remove it.
Yeah. If you got any ideas, any suggestions you would like to put out on it?
We've got some agencies that, like volunteer fire departments, that don't even call for a permit. And they don't set up at intersections, they set up in the middle of the road and stop people, everybody comes by. I don't see their authority to do that.
I've discussed with some of those fire departments, the big question really, Mr. Porter, is what authority do we have in allowing these roadblocks? Again, the sheriff's department worked very well with us as far as coming out when there is an issue. And the way we handle it now is that we will give a permit if they call in. We'll give a permit for qualified agencies and allow them, in a certain area, at a certain time. Of course, we do require that they be 18 and have on their reflective vest and all that. We're essentially going by this, but again, nothing's been, as I understand, officially adopted by the commission.
Right. It ought to be, and any permits that are issued ought to have indemnity clauses in them. Indemnifies the county from anybody gets hurt. Because I think that'd be the biggest thing as far as I can see.
Does the sheriff have the authority to write a citation when you got children under the age of 18 on the road?
It's a matter of traffic control. And I don't think the sheriff can, whether they're 18 or not, I think it'd be a violation of their permit.
Violation of the permit, but I don't think there's any violation of state law. Plus, I don't know what authority we have on a state highway to remove somebody from there. The state doesn't want to do that.
Now, this one, now, most of them are on state highway, like state board, but this one actually happened on a county road.
Who would be responsible for verifying that it's the agency or whoever's having the roadblock is,
The way that we've handled the process of the commission with this would be that they have to bring us information showing that they're a nonprofit agency, and the purpose for the roadblock, and then, approve it on a case-by-case basis.
Most of them talk about it in permit.
There we go, yeah. If they don't,
most people don't.
if they don't receive one that's outside of this, the problem is going back to the enforcement portion of it, and some type of ramifications if they do have, I guess, not abide by this. What are the possibilities? Would we have to get local law passed to have any teeth in the policy? Do we want to?
I think you could probably, and I'd have to look at this, because it does deal with traffic control. On county roads at least, and probably state highways within the county, we're responsible for traffic control. There may be a possibility that the commission could adopt a resolution that puts some enforcement provisions in this process. But I'd have to look at it and see if the county does have that authority.
One thing, Mr. Chairman, is on our current policy, I'd like to see it changed to, instead of emailing permits or giving them a number, they have to physically come to the courthouse and get the permit. I think that would deter some of what we got going on. It'll make it a little more inconvenient, but if you're really doing it for a worthy cause, it shouldn't be that big a problem to come to the courthouse and pick up the permit.
Based, again, this is something that's been kind of put together, and some ideas have come together. If ever going to look over that, if that's the direction that we want to move in, and if there are any ideas or anything to supplement this, Mr. Porter, if you would check and see what can be done, and then we can have him put together a resolution outlining this. And I agree with you that they need to come and actually pick up the permit. Any other questions or comments on that? But if you could check on that, and we'll see what the possibilities are.
When are we going to put this back on?
I'd say let's plan for the first, or maybe the next work session would be have something prepared by then. We've got a lot going on, so we'll try to have this at the next work session and discuss it again. Any other questions or comments? Move on to our reports, Mr. Manning. Mr. Duffy? Mr. Ledwell?
Those,
I would like to note two things. We've been approved for two grants, received notification for. One in cooperation with the city of Scottsboro. That grant was for $500,000, it's 80/20, so the county is responsible for $100,000, and that was for the downtown sidewalk project. So that's a good thing. Both ourselves and the city of Scottsboro were approved for that grant. It's $1 million towards the project, and they're looking at another $200,000 grant also. So that would be a very good project when that comes about. I believe when we talked about it, it'll probably be next year before the project gets started. We'll be doing the work in the meantime. Again, as agreed upon by the resolution that was passed, the county will be out no more than $100,000, our portion of our grant that was received. So that's really good news on receiving that. Also, we received, Mr. Widener brought to my attention, we received a small portion. We had applied for $300,000, but received $63,000 for our recycling program, which again, that's going to help us quite a bit expand that program. We've got to determine what we want to use that for, whether it be all for trailers or whether we want to purchase, well, I guess it says for, is it limited to trailers? It is.
I got that right before Kenny.
Okay. We'll find that out, but either way, that would add a few more sites, locations as far as our recycling goes, so that'll be beneficial in expanding recycling through the county, trying a few more locations, so that's another positive thing to see. All right, that concludes all the items on our agenda, so we'll recess, motion for recess, we'll head downstairs for the, second. All those in favor say aye.